Hi guys, so Andrew Gwynne, Labour MP, had some very strong words for Rishi Sunak, Boris Johnson and the government. And he basically asked the question, why do they hate Greater Manchester? So let's hear what he had to say.
Thank you. All that Greater Manchester's asking for is proper financial support for our businesses, our self-employed and our lowest paid after 12 weeks of failed lockdown measures and as we face many more uncertain months ahead. When the Prime Minister's reported as struggling to live on his £150,000 a year salary, how does he think the lowest paid in Greater Manchester will cope on 2/3 of national minimum wage? And last night, the Communities Secretary offered just £22 million for a city region of 2.8 million people. That's less than the £25 million he granted to his own town centre. Why does this government hate Greater Manchester?
I love this guy. I see so much of myself in him. Well, we'll get to the question in a moment. So Boris Johnson, of course, complained about living on only £150,000 a year. I was suggesting having a bit of a whip round to help him get by, to get to the end of the month. Can he survive? He'll probably turn up in worn out clothes or something to Parliament the next time we see him. But at the same time, he expects people to survive on 2/3 of the minimum wage. Because the Tories don't understand what it's like to be on minimum wage. They have no understanding of what it's like to suffer, to make compromises financially, to understand what it's like to worry about, do you have enough money for food this week? Do I have to eventually go to a food bank? Do I have the money for the mortgage? Do I have to balance the money from the rent to pay the bills? Can I heat my home? Can I compromise? Can I ask the landlord for an extension because I need to pay bills this month? These are ideas that are completely beyond what most Tories understand. And of course, the Chancellor comes from a very rich background, so he doesn't have to. He doesn't even have a clue of what ordinary people go through. Now, of course, the question was, why do the government hate Greater Manchester? Well, it's a very simple answer. Because they resisted. The other councils, the other cities gave in. The government said, it's our way or the highway. And they gave in because they were desperate. I don't know all the details, but I'm pretty sure that's what happened. Manchester said no. Manchester said, we're not going to just roll over. We have been under these restrictions for a long time now. We cannot continue this way. Our businesses, small enterprises, individuals, people, or our citizens are suffering. We can't allow this to continue. We need the resources available. We need the resources to be made available, in order to deal with this. And I've said this in other videos, if the government were honest and said, yes, we actually believe this is serious, then they would provide the resources that the mayor requested. How can they say, yes, the situation is dire, but we're not going to provide the resources that the mayor requests? But let's hear what Rishi Sunak has to say. Maybe Rishi, understands what it's like to live on minimum wage. I don't think so, though.
Chancellor. Mr. Speaker, it's disappointing to hear the right honourable gentleman's tone.
Oh, it's disappointing to hear the tone. The tone is the problem. Not that people are struggling to make ends meet. It's not that Boris Johnson is, complaining about living on £150,000 a year. I imagine Rishi Sunak probably spends £150,000 a year on suits. So the tone is the problem, not actually what's happening.
It's obviously a very difficult time for many people in this country, as we have...
Yes. The Tories are reaching out and saying, look, it's difficult for everyone. It's difficult for me. It's difficult for you. We're all in the same boat. Like when austerity was imposed 10 years ago, the Tories were saying exactly the same thing. We all have to tighten our belts. We all have to, make the bread last a bit longer this week. The complete disconnection from reality. The people who were imposing austerity would never be impacted by austerity. And we've seen numerous interviews where, thankfully, certain journalists would ask politicians, could you survive on minimum wage? Could you survive on universal credit? And they would say, of course I could, yes. But they wouldn't understand what for example, how much a loaf of bread costs, or a litre of milk costs, or the average rent for a one-bedroom apartment, for example, in their local town. They wouldn't be able to survive on the money that they expect others to survive on.
Evolve our response to this virus, but what we need is people acting in a constructive spirit, and that's what my right honourable friend, the Community Secretary, is actively
So you just need people to be more constructive. What he means by constructive is to shut up and take, what we give you. That's what he means by constructive. It's, and they have been congratulating the councils who have shut up and taken what they've been given. Their problem is with Greater Manchester, because they have decided, no, we're actually going to stand up for our people.
Offering to do, and I hope those conversations are happening as we speak. Greater Manchester is being treated exactly the same as every part of our United Kingdom. These are national support schemes that have put in place that help the most vulnerable in our society. He raised a number of questions. As he will know, there are national schemes to protect businesses, to protect employees, and to provide support to his local authority.
Then why didn't you provide the mayor with the resources they wanted? You can't say that, we have everything available. Then why are they complaining? I'd like Rishi Sunak to explain why these people are complaining. Do they not have a legitimate complaint? Are they just making it all up? Why are they asking for something and you're not giving it? You're saying that the resources are available. They don't need to ask for anything more. But if people are expected to live on 2/3 of the minimum wage, surely there's a problem. Can we put Rishi Sunak on 2/3 of the minimum wage just for a week? Doesn't have to be for the rest of his life, just for a week, and see how he survives. Put Boris Johnson, take Boris Johnson's £150,000 away from him, just for 1 year, and see how he survives. Put him on universal credit for a bit. And I think he would be much more open to making adjustments to universal credit in the same way Rishi Sunak would be if he was put on it as well. There's a complete disconnect between the Conservative Party and the working class. And there's a complete disconnect between the government and what's happening in Manchester. I think they're trying to punish Manchester for resisting, and I think they're also trying to punish them because, the mayor is a member of the Labour Party. Let me know in the comment section, guys, what you think. As always, your comments are greatly appreciated. Thanks a lot. I want to say a big thank you to all of my patrons. You ensure that this channel continues to exist. I'm eternally grateful for all of your support. If you join Patreon, you will receive instant access to our Discord server, where we have both audio and video chats. You can chat with me and other patrons, where we discuss important and non-important issues. Becoming a patron per month costs about the same as a large coffee, so why not check it out?